Kim Potter, the ex-cop who shot and killed Daunte Wright during a traffic stop, found guilty of first and second-degree manslaughter.
We, the jury, on the charge of manslaughter in the first degree, find the defendant guilty.
Potter remained composed but visibly disappointed as the judge read the jury's verdict. Potter's husband yelled out as she was handcuffed.
Love you, Kim.
Potter's defense lawyers comforting her before she was led out of the courtroom. Potter testified that she pulled her gun out instead of her taser by mistake and did not mean to shoot Wright as he struggled with officers. But the prosecution argued successfully that Potter was reckless during the deadly traffic stop. Outside the courthouse, demonstrators cheered and celebrated, chanting Daunte Wright's name. Wright's mother described how she felt when she heard the guilty verdict.
Emotions, every single emotion that you could imagine, just running through your body at that moment. I kind of let out a yelp because it was built up in the anticipation of what was to come while we were waiting for the last few days.
Kim Potter's sentencing is set for February 18th. The more serious manslaughter charge carries a maximum of 15 years in prison. But because Potter had a clean record, sentencing guidelines call for a sentence between roughly 6 to 8.5 years behind bars. Let's bring in David Henderson, civil rights attorney and CNBC contributor. David, good evening to you. What did the jury hear that convinced them?
Good evening, Contessa. I think what the jury heard that convinced them mainly was Kim Potter herself. Her testimony when I was watching it was equally ridiculous and offensive, combined with the fact that the defense took an approach to this case that I think worked pre-George Floyd's murder, but not post. And they came in and basically said, this is what it takes. He had this coming. And the jury definitely rejected that argument, appropriately so.
In the trial, we heard testimony that Potter was a model police officer. No one was debating that. What message do you think this verdict now sends to law enforcement across this country?
Well, Contessa, I think what you have to conclude that it sends is exactly what the prosecution said, and that is that a mistake can rise to the level of being a crime. Now, from a legal point of view, I don't strictly agree with that analysis, but I think that police departments have to be on guard if, for example, you confuse your gun with a taser. And this is not the first time this has happened. This happened in 2009 at Fruitvale Station. Or you make a comparable error, it can result in criminal prosecution.
Prosecutors have indicated they plan to ask for longer sentencing than the guidelines. What do you make of that strategy?
I think that strategy is consistent with what you heard from Kim Potter when she testified, and you have to take her testimony for what it was. She admitted that Daunte was racially profiled, didn't use those words, but that's basically what she said, admitted they could have put a stop to it. And all this testimony about her being an officer with enough experience to be a training officer really works against her when she didn't try to render aid after she shot him. So I do think there's a good chance of an upward sentencing departure. I don't think she's going to get anywhere near the 15-year maximum, though.
David Henderson, I appreciate your insight. Thank you.